New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Knick of Time Show here, giving you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And it's time to celebrate a win, even though I don't want to celebrate too hard because there's the Pistons. But guess what? We still won and beat them 118-112. Julius Randle damn near had a triple-double and gave you 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists on the night. Jalen Brunson, he did a little bit of work. He just near average, 42.8 assists, 6 rebound night from Jalen Brunson. And DiVincenzo comes in with some clutch buckets, hitting threes. Gave us 12 points, hit 4 of 8 from 3, and every single shot was a three-pointer. And you know what? Despite the Pistons giving us a scare, we were up 16 the first half. They tied it by halftime, and they were raining threes for a team that's 25th in the league in three-point shooting. Even though all that went against us, we still prevailed, and we came up with that W. So we're gonna talk about it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. And I hope you guys enjoy the show because we got a special guest today. So I'm gonna introduce you. I'm gonna introduce everybody. First and foremost, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy of the stats and the facts. Ryan G's in the building. We got
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We got the Latin assassin, ESPN contributor, Lee Escobedo. We got my girl, rookie of the year, the KOT show, college athlete, D1 baller, Ebony in the building, and of course you already know my man Dexter from SNY, journalist, very, very cool. One of the coolest dudes on the planet. Shout out to Dexter, very knowledgeable. We had like a little mini show beforehand before we even started. So you just cannot talk basketball with Dexter. What's going on, Dexter?
Ain't much, man. Good. Happy to be here. Always happy to be part of the KOT family. So I always like when you guys have me on. Pleasure to be on with Ebony. I've been watching her do her thing. So just happy to be on with you guys, man. Talk some Knicks hoops. Always a good time.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Yo, Dexter, isn't it a luxury to suck for a half the night and then have an all-star caliber point guard like Jalen Brunson just come in and just save you? I was kind of cocky about winning this game earlier, and I soon found out I was a little bit too cocky. But one of the reasons I'm so cocky is because we have Jalen Brunson here as a failsafe. When everybody else does bad, he's gonna show up and he's gonna give it his points and he's gonna be efficient. And that's exactly what he did today. Tell me what you thought of the game and Jalen Brunson's game today, Dex.
Yeah, so I understand why you're a little bit cocky, right? Like, I get it. And it's funny because you and I were texting before this game. You were like, should be a win. And I was like, I don't know. They lost 15 in a row. Feels like Detroit might be due. And I'm sure there's a lot of other Knicks fans out there that felt the same way. I think, to your point, though, the more we see of Jalen Brunson and how he's played, and you saw the fans at the Garden chanting MVP tonight, he is a fail-safe for the Knicks. You feel at times as though he's going to be the reason that they're not going to lose, especially against the teams they're supposed to take care of. You can even say against the teams that are on their level or even better. We saw this, with Miami. Mm-hmm. The problem is, I think if you're a Knicks fan looking at this game, and my thoughts on the game are that the Knicks got to stop playing with their food, man. You got to stop playing with your food, right?
Yeah.
When you got Detroit coming into the Garden, this is not a good team. They lost 15 games in a row. They're out of sorts. They can't shoot from downtown. Everything you've got, you want to see them take care of business. And it looked like the Knicks were going to do that. They're up 14 after one, and then everything just goes. And it really comes down to this. And I think something that's a little bit concerning in the last couple of games that you saw from them to this week, the Phoenix game, and then you look at this game. The Phoenix game obviously being a loss. The defensive intensity, not consistent. And I think that's the thing that I take away from this. Tibbs talked about this after the game. The defense has to be better. You have a team like that, you got to clamp down. This would have been a nice night. Also, I think Knicks Nation will agree with me on this. Had you dominated defensively, taking care of the job on the boards, blowout win, you get to rest some starters. Remember, the Knicks are flying to Toronto. They play tomorrow. For those who don't know, when a lot of NBA players, when they fly to Toronto, they don't like it on a back-to-back because you have to deal with customs and going through all that. Shout out to my beat writers like Stephen Bondi, who's going up there. They don't want to deal with that either. I understand all that. So I think that this is a win where your points are right, J. Ellis, in that it's nice to see what Brunson could do, giving you the 42 piece and all that. But at the same time, you're like, man, I wish this team took care of business against a much lower echelon team at home. That's something you would have liked to see.
I agree, especially the second unit. I feel like the second unit in general was kind of letting me down a little bit. But Ebony, since this is your first time with Dex, I'm gonna pass the ball to you and let us know what you think about what Dex did, your thoughts on Jalen Brunson, whatever is on your mind.
I just think, like I noticed in the past prior games that. Oh, and first of all, it's an honor to be on the panel with you, Dexter. Nice to meet you. Definitely. But yeah, I just want to say that when we play one-on-one basketball, it's a struggle. It is a struggle. It is not pretty basketball for us. It doesn't really work. It keeps people out of rhythm. In the first half, we had 45 shots, and 30 of them came from our big three.
Yeah.
So like it was very, 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 very ball dominant for the big three today. Like and like I think only maybe five shots for Quickley was the fourth most after RJ with 8 in the first half. So then you could kind of feel why people will be out of rhythm and a little off. Hart didn't get his first shot attempt until the third quarter. I believe it was like the third quarter. He got his first shot attempt in bucket. So it's just we got scorers. I know Brunson's a scorer, but with me, I just would like him to. Everybody would like him to try to get other people easier shots, so it's easier for him because he can get, as we can see, he can score whenever he wants to. Everybody else might not be on that same page, So to try to help get easier buckets for the others, or keep them involved in the game, locked in, so they're not 0 for. We didn't shoot well that first half. Or the game, period, from 3 especially.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But Brunson is a burner. Fourth quarter should be him. Fourth quarter definitely should be him. Just give him the more ball and move out his way kind of thing. But in order to do that, you got to get the others involved, the other quarters.
So. I agree. Ryan, what do you think?
Yes, I think this was overall just a trap game for the Knicks because, Pistons lost 15, 16 in a row. And, you're thinking that, this team might be, there comes a time when pride has kicked in for these teams, right? So you lose 15, 16 in a row, you're going to eventually, as a team, you're going to be like, we're tired of losing. So you're going to step up. And tonight, that's what the Pistons did. And it's a trap game sometimes because sometimes the team can be complacent going into those games because they look at a team and they're like, oh, this team lost 15, 16 in a row. I don't have to play that hard against them. And sometimes you go in with, not a lack of effort per se, but like you're not fully focused. And that allows that team that, lost 15, 16 in a row to hang around all game. And really what the difference was in the game was that in the fourth quarter execution, the Pistons will lose 15, 16 games in a row for a reason. They don't execute well in the fourth quarter. And the Knicks being 11-7, the Knicks not executing the fourth quarter and basically got big shots from Brunson, Randall, etc. And I also like the two-man game that Brunson and Randall were playing as well because the two-man game, what it allows them to do is it allows them to create mismatches for both Brunson and Randall. So oftentimes when Randall was operating in the post, going one-on-one, a lot of times he had Hayes on him. Yeah. Or basically somebody who's a guard on him, and that allowed Randall to take advantage of him. And at the same time, he gave Brunson mismatches as well to take advantage on the offensive end also. So I like the two-man game that they got going on. And at the end of the day, a win is a win, and the Knicks did what they were supposed to do. But I'm very convinced that if this game was in Detroit, Knicks would have smacked them by 20 because we all know the Knicks play better on the road than they do at home.
That's true. That is true. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Dexter.
Yeah, I think there's some things in both what Ebony and Ryan said. And I think that Ebony, and we all were talking about this before we started recording, but one of my concerns, I know we'll get to this, Jay Ellis, is the ball movement. So I'll wait for you to come back. I'll come back to that. But I think the Knicks are very efficient when they are hunting these mismatches, like Ryan said, in the two-man game. We saw that. It was very efficient in the fourth quarter. I think another thing to keep an eye on, DiVincenzo hit some big threes, especially in the fourth quarter. I think he had 4 in the game today. You know, and I was texting with 2 of my boys who are Knicks fans, and they're like, oh, the seat might be getting hot for Grimes, who seems to have lost a little bit of his confidence with the shot. I would be a little patient there because he was coming back from that wrist injury. And I think we'll see what happens there. But, you know, if DiVincenzo continues to shoot the ball the way he is down the stretch, I think that's something to keep an eye on there. But yeah, Brunson and Randall in the two-man game, they've been fantastic. I have some concerns about the team and everybody eating. I get it. Everybody's not going to, I'm not into the number of shots that everybody gets, but I think we have to start looking at the quality of shots that maybe some other players aren't seeing. And I think Ebony, and I'm sure we'll touch on this later, I think Ebony makes a great point in terms of others have to feel like they're involved in the offense. There's something of what Josh Hart was saying the other day. I think it's a little deeper too in Hart because he was being hesitant. There's something to that. Yeah. But we got to keep our eye on that. I know I am from a media perspective, you know, watching this team and talking to people is that, you know, is the offense going to evolve more than what we've seen the last 2 seasons?
I feel like it's a work in progress. And I feel like the people who are struggling the most out of everybody are the people who are hesitant. And the people who are most hesitant to me are Grimes and Josh Hart right now. So Grimes had 5 shots on the night. He only played 15 minutes though. He looked all the way confused. And then the only one who's really not culpable is Mitch, because Mitch just gets lobs, you know.
Right.
Mitch plays 30 minutes and gets 4 shots.
Right. Yeah, but the point you're making, Jay Ellis, there is that, and this is what I thought about when I saw Hart's comments, which is it's one thing to say that you're not in rhythm, but we've also watched Hart be hesitant.
Facts.
So what you have, it's a kind of a question, and Fred Katz wrote about this in The Athletic. I thought he brought up a good question, which was, is Josh Hart hesitant because he's not in rhythm with the offense, or is he not in rhythm with the offense because he's hesitant, right? Like it's you don't know. It's kind of a chicken or egg thing. Like you don't know which one it is. But yeah. I'm inclined to think though that because Hart's playing with the second unit, and we got to give props to the bench. The bench has played very well for the Knicks thus far this season. If Hart's the one that's not in rhythm, it's like, yo, the problem might be you.
It's always
right. Everybody else is moving well. Yeah, so the problem might be you now. And I like Hart as a player, and I love what he brings. But in terms of offense, you want to see him do a little bit more. Let the 3 fly when you get it. He's just been really hesitant, and you know his usage is about the same as it was last year. So I think it's really on him more.
Yeah, I agree. That's been his problems ever since he's been in Portland. Portland fans have said the same thing. This man does not like to shoot the rock from 3. When we played the Heat, he was open for like half the series, and he kept passing the ball up, and it was infuriating to watch. That's the reason why he lost his starting spot again once Grimes got healthy, because Tibbs was trying to start Josh Hart for a few games until he realized Josh Hart was making things harder for Jalen Brunson than it was supposed to be, and went right back to Grimes. Lee, I haven't even talked to Lee yet. I know Lee, get in here. What is your take on the hesitancy of the Josh Hart and just the offense in general?
I mean, you know my feelings. I think all of us agree that the commonality with our criticism of Tibbs is a lack of creativity in the offense. I think he relies too much on Jalen Brunson to run things and doesn't necessarily play call as much as he could. I don't even know if he has the full repertoire of play calling offensively to really create something different from this roster that he's had for the last 2 or 3 years. Brunson is, I mean, when the ball was in his hands, he has one of the most highest dribbling percentages and on-ball usage percentages in the NBA. So, you know, it's pretty guaranteed he's going to do ISO. Maybe he'll try a play. Once it gets back to him, that ball is in his hand, and he's going to take the shot before he takes a pass. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why our offense runs the way it does. And it's difficult to come in and find any type of rhythm or culpability within our offensive scheme because players don't really get the opportunity to cook at all. But with the way that the system runs between RJ, Randall, and Brunson. But I want to talk about the Pistons, man. No win November. 0 wins, 16 losses,
Woof.
100% ass cheats.
Woof.
And let me tell you, I tweeted this morning about Cade Cunningham being an ass defender, and boy, did he show it tonight.
Oh, yeah.
My guy was cheats on defense. Brunson cooked him all night. That's not to say he's not a great offensive player, because he is. And I think he's an emerging superstar on that end of the ball. 31 points, 12 of 20. The kid can, I mean, he's great size, great hands, great court vision. He's a big bully ball power forward running the point, but man, he's got to commit to defense. And I think this really shows the type of culture Detroit still is recovering from. Even though they inserted Monty Williams as the highest paid coach of all time, there's still a lot of things that need to clean up in terms of commitment on defense, talking on defense. I didn't see a lot of communicating either. And I saw a lot of like head down, shoulders slumped, and not a lot of like visibility on the sidelines. As Clyde said, no coach is getting pissed. No one yelling at guys or reprimanding them or being pulled out of games. He tried that cheaty lineup change, but the same guys who shoot the ball shot the ball tonight. So it didn't really end up in any type of differential on the box score.
It was still work for us too, man. Killian Hayes got cooked. I mean, Killian Hayes was kind of cooking Brunson. I'm not even gonna hold you. Killian Hayes was
Clyde said, "This is just pathetic."
Yeah, he did.
He was so disgusted about Detroit.
Yeah,
he was. That first quarter, he went off.
That's a fact. Yeah. And Sassy was getting sassy. What's his name? I call him Sassy.
Sassy, he's from Dallas, Texas, baby.
Sassy.
Let's go.
My bad. Sassy was getting sassy too. Sassy was cooking Grimes. Like he was cooking everybody out. No, I'm sorry. Cade was cooking Grimes. I'm sorry. Cade was cooking
Sassa shifted Randall.
Yeah.
It was one play he shifted him, hit the three afterwards. I'm like, where did this kid come from? I look him up. It say 8.5. 8.5 is what he averaged. That's not what he had today.
Yeah, but Ebony, if you watch the Pistons this year, Sasser could play. He's been giving them some good energy off the bench. In fact, at the start of the year, Monty Williams was playing him over Ivy. Well, I was trying to remember the pick from last year. He paid him over Ivy, and so he's right. They got a lot of things to figure out over there because I don't know who they're playing. It's like Monty Williams is trying to find out who he likes. I think he likes Sasser. I think he likes Sir Thompson because those guys seem to be playing defense and also playing well on the offensive end. That team is a lot, which we're saying all this, and this is the reason why my point at the beginning was the Knicks should have cooked them by a lot more than did not. And that's the point. I know a win is a win. I get it, guys. But I'm just saying they should have cooked them by a little more.
Yeah, we had Jalen Brunson gives you 40 points. You have Julius Randle gives you almost a triple double, and you're like, damn it, it was a win, but I don't know, man. I don't know. And you know what? I don't know too. I'm getting a little bit worried, guys, and I want to get your take on this. A little bit worried. RJ Barrett started off phenomenal. We're ninth in 3-point shooting. One of the reasons why we're ninth in 3-point shooting, one of the reasons, because there's many reasons, but one of them is RJ started out so hot from 3. But ever since the migraines happened, he hasn't quite gotten back to that level that he was playing at before the migraines. And I get worried when RJ misses time. I get worried because he gets out of rhythm, like he be clapping on the 1 and the 3. Like I don't like And since he's been back, he's been averaging 14.4 points at a 33% field goal percentage and 30 from 3-point percentage. Shout out to George for Into the Knicks first who posted that. But Dexter, I want to get your thoughts on RJ's performance of the year since he's been back with the migraine, or if you're concerned or
not. My concern level would be low for RJ because I think the thing for me is he's been taking quality shots. He hasn't been playing outside of the offense. Even tonight, he had a couple of good finishes. He had that I think it was in the fourth quarter. He had that really nice spin move, finish attacking the basket. RJ, to me, I felt this way since the playoffs last year. I thought his shot selection got a lot better. Obviously, you want to see him hit that 3-point shot. He was 5 of 12 from the field today. 5 of those misses came from downtown because he's 1 for 6. So you want to see him shoot better. I do think you're right about that, though, Jay Ellis. He's a rhythm player. The migraine situation, I think, took him out of rhythm. Also, you got to remember conditioning. I think you got to give him some time to bring that back. I'm not as worried about him and Grimes. I might be a little bit more worried about than him, but I still think he has to get some conditioning back as well, too. His Grimes, confidence looks a little bit off.
Yeah.
I don't see that with RJ. It's not the confidence. I think it's more of rhythm, and I think that'll come back. It wouldn't shock me if RJ was maybe back into his rhythm by the Milwaukee game in the play-in tournament next week. Or you know what? He's going back home to Toronto. He might be feeling good on Friday night.
That's right.
We'll see. I think he'll be honestly think he'll be fine. I'm not worried about him. I think RJ has turned a corner as a player. I felt he, 7 of the 11 games in the playoffs last year, he was really good. I thought he played really well. And you got to give that young man credit because the first 2 games he was absolutely terrible. He was booty butt cheeks. And he came back and really showed me. And I think the way he shot the ball, you hear from everybody around the Knicks, he's putting the work. He played well. Jay Ellis, I believe it was when you came on with me on New York Got Game on the show, you were talking about he was a player you wanted to see the most out of this year. He was the one you were going to be really watching closely.
Yeah.
And so I understand Knicks fans' trepidation where they see things maybe going the other way, where they're just like, oh, I don't know. But I did something about him that I think he's going to be fine and bounce back. And I think as long as he's still taking quality shots, 5 of 12 overall wasn't bad tonight. He just didn't hit his shots from downtown. I think if we start seeing forcing shots or he's really bricking really bad, then I think it's a situation of concern. But right now, if I had to put on a scale of 1 to 10, my concern level is at like a 3 because I think he had a solid start and he get back to where he was before.
I think that's why I'm a little bit concerned because I'm starting to see a little bit of the 1-on-3, 1-on-2. I'm starting to see it peaking. Like that Phoenix game, there was one play in that Phoenix game where it was him versus 4 Phoenix defenders, and he was like, I still got it.
I know exactly the play you're talking about. Yeah. And
I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. This is the old RJ that I
think he'll be okay though. Like okay. I think he will, because even today, I didn't watch this game and I was like, oh man, the shot selection was terrible. Even the shots he took from downtown. I say he's just slightly below 50% from the field from today. It is really the shots from downtown. I think the 3-point stroke will come back. Like I said, wouldn't shock me if he had a good game tomorrow in Toronto. Wouldn't shock me at all.
Got you. I haven't talked to you, Ryan G, in a bit. I know you thoughts on RJ or even Grimes too, because I'm actually starting to get concerned about Grimes.
I agree with Dexter. My RJ concern is not really high at the moment. Yeah, there have been times when you watch his play and you're like, damn, is the old RJ trying to peek his head out? But overall, I do think he has contained himself. Like he has been taking pretty good shots for the most part. And I think, and like I've never had a migraine before, so I have no idea how that affects you, especially after you recover from it. So, just from that, I'm willing to give RJ grace and give him time to, find his form again. So I'm not really too concerned about RJ. Now Grimes, yeah, Grimes does concern me at the moment. But here's my thing, because I know a lot of people been clamoring on Knicks Twitter, for the Knicks to replace Grimes in the starting lineup and put in either Dante DiVincenzo or Quickley in the lineup to replace him. But here's my thing, though, because last year we've seen Grimes play in the starting lineup and we've seen him perform well in the starting lineup. And now he's in a place where he's lost confidence. So it's like when you have a player that loses confidence in his game, is the right move to really put him on the bench because he's not playing well and replace him in the starting lineup? Or is the right move to continue to show faith in him and be like, you know what, we believe in you. We believe that you're going to get back to where you were last season and keep him in the starting lineup and have him fight through his own battles. And I think a lot of times people just want to go for the quick fix, but sometimes, I don't know, in my opinion, the quick fix isn't the way to go. Because to me, it's like if you want, because we all know what Grimes is capable of, and if you want Grimes to get back to that point, you have to give him time to fight his way out of his struggles right now to get back to where he was. I don't think benching him is the right move. But if you're talking about concern, like, yeah, he does concern me at the moment with his player.
I mean, if you think about where Grimes is at, wouldn't you just follow the same scenario you did with Mitchell Robinson and RJ Barrett when they had season-long struggles? Mitchell Robinson was a foul-prone machine the first year and a half that he played. Can you imagine if Tibbs would have benched him permanently for Nerlens Noel's bum ass or some other aging vet or bum rookie that was on the bench at that time, that would have been the wrong move because Mitch and RJ took their lumps. They learned from it. They continue to develop. And now you got two guys playing at all-star level in their respective capacities. Same thing should happen Grimes. Grimes has been bad. I agree. For what, 14, 15 games? It's a long season, man. This is only his, third year in the NBA? Let's pump the brakes a little bit on the fear-mongering. Not saying you guys are doing that, but it's Twitter certainly is. And let's be a little more rational. Allow this kid to stay in the starting lineup. Get cooked. Sometimes the lessons are there when you review film. You understand what you're doing wrong and just communicate with your teammates. I mean, it's not that complicated. Let's keep him in the lineup and let him take his lumps.
I agree with you both. Excuse me. I think one other thing I will add there too is that we have to remember he's still the Knicks' best perimeter defender. And so if you take him out the starting lineup, who you throwing on the team's other best offensive player, particularly that plays in the perimeter? And Dante DiVincenzo ain't going to lock anybody down for you on that. He'll give you some effort, but that's not going to happen. So I think a lot of times, not you guys here, but I think sometimes in the fan base and around basketball, we just think offense first. And it's like the other side of the ball matters. And he has some value there still for the Knicks. He's not hitting his shots right now. And I know everybody would like to see that, but he still has value on the other end. I've still seen the effort for him defensively. I don't think it's not giving effort. He's had some bad fouls recently, but it's not that he's not giving effort. So I think pulling him from the starting lineup this quickly would be a mistake. Lee brings up a fantastic point about confidence. He talked about Barrett and also Mitchell Robinson, where you saw there. You got to give these guys some time to work out their problems. And it's a process, man. It's a process.
It's all a process. I keep referencing that one iconic Grimes play when New York was facing Miami in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Grimes gets clipped. He's on one leg and then strips Jimmy Butler. I can't imagine. DiVincenzo's a great player. I can't imagine him one-on-one with Jimmy Butler and him just getting clipped and stealing the ball in the playoffs. Like that. He's going to give you that effort. He's going to give you the steals. But those are why we have this. That's why we have Grimes on this team for moments like that. And we have to be patient with young players. Last year, everybody was screaming, play the kids. 2 years ago, everybody was screaming, play the kids. We are, 17 games in now, and people are saying bench him. The same people were saying play the kids last year and 2 years ago want to bench him. 17 games in to the season. I don't know.
Great point.
I don't know. Pick a side. I'm just telling. Pick a side.
I agree. Definitely.
I want to get your thoughts on IQ starting, Dexter, because I've noticed the synergy between Jalen Brunson and IQ has been freaking nominal. And I think the numbers might support. But what do you think of people saying, you know what, start IQ? Why don't we start IQ?
See, I had this conversation with another friend of mine who's a Knicks fan the last couple of years. The answer for me is no, right? And I think IQ is a fantastic player. I think he's a really valuable player. I think he's a winning player. I think the Knicks will have to figure out what they're going to do with him, whether that is lock him up this offseason or they're going to move on and use him in terms of a trade. But to me, if you look at all the times when the Knicks have big runs, IQ always seems to hit a big shot. Mm-hmm. He's always the guy doing that. And I think he's so valuable to this team. He's one of the most valuable pieces of this team. He's front runner for sixth man of the year, I would say right now. I think a lot of Knicks fans thought he should have won it last year. Mm-hmm. If you start him in the backcourt, okay, this is the point I was just making before. People don't think about the other side of the ball.
Every single time, Dexter.
Good teams, right? Good teams in the playoffs and even now in the regular season, the elite teams already are trying to hunt Jalen Brunson. Not because Brunson doesn't give effort, but purely because of his size. Now you have two small guys in the backcourt, and other teams are going to try to hunt that. So that's going to take away from you. We like IQ, the immunity he's getting. I think sometimes this isn't 2K, guys, okay? You can't just mix and match and maybe you play somebody else and they won't take advantage of the mismatches. Good teams will do this. Mm-hmm. They will take advantage of the mismatches. So
that's a fact.
As much as I like IQ as a player, and I'm lauding him and saying how valuable he is to this current Knicks team and roster, putting him in the starting lineup with Brunson in that backcourt Nah, I don't think that's good. I think one of the issues the Knicks already have is size. I think a lot of people wish they probably had a bigger wing out there that they could utilize more. So to get even smaller, no, I'm not gonna. Because I think it takes away from another one of the Knicks' strengths, even with Grimes on the floor, which is they're a very good rebounding team, the best rebounding team in the league. So you don't want to take away from that strength. You can't just think about one side of the ball. You got to think about both sides of the ball. And I think IQ as a sixth man is in his perfect role. Leave him there, let him cook. Just leave him there and let him cook.
Yeah. He struggled today a little. Woo, he was like 1 for 20. No, 2 for 10, I think. He was 2 for 10 today.
Yeah.
He was great. But I'm gonna just throw some numbers at you just to confuse you more, to make it seem more ridiculous what we just said, even though we sound really like smart analysts right now. The lineup of Jalen Brunson, Immanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, plus 57. But only 21 possessions though.
Only that's the point there, JL. It's a small sample size, right? Like it's a very small set. But what that tells you is what those numbers tell you is if you use it in certain spurts or stretches, particularly when you're closing the game or middle of the fourth quarter, you can live with that.
Yeah.
I wonder also how many possessions? 21 possessions?
Yes.
I wonder if most of those possessions came from the Miami game. Because that's a game where we saw, that's the game where you saw Quickley close down the stretch. So a lot of that came there. Quickley was fantastic in that game, right?
He was.
And very instrumental in them coming back. But I think there'll be stretches, we've seen this over the last couple of years where Tibbs has trusted Quickley to close games. And I think that's fine. I think something Tibbs doesn't get enough credit for is sometimes when he recognizes lineups that are working, he's stuck with them, particularly in the fourth quarter. And I've liked seeing that for the team. So I think Quickley will get his minutes. I think another thing we do is we worry too much about who starts when it really matters who closes.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter as much. People get way too caught up in the starting lineup. It doesn't matter as much. It's about what your closing lineups are, what lineups are going to work against the elite defenses in the postseason. That's the things I think fans need to focus on more. That matters more. So Quickley, leave him in his role. He'll close. There'll be a bunch of times this season you'll see him close. And I think Knicks fans will be happy when they see him close. Should he start? No. No. I don't think it solves anything for the Knicks right now.
Yeah. Not that he can't be a capable starter somewhere else, because I was calling for him. Everybody, I keep saying I was calling for him to start game one in his first preseason game. I was like, starting. But at that time we had Franklin.
Well, that's because they had Alfred Payton now.
Yeah, exactly.
So I understand. I understand why you were saying that. I'm just saying. I understand. I get it.
I'll say start that man. We got somebody who can shoot and he's competent and he's not scared to shoot like Franklin Lakina. He plays more defense than Dennis Smith Jr. at the time, even though Dennis Smith Jr. right now is like a top-notch defender. Is crazy, but at the time he wasn't. Would you pay him though? I want to get everybody's opinion on this. Ebony, would you pay IQ his money? Because right now, I've read a couple of reports. I've read that he wants $25 million, and I wouldn't be surprised if he played himself into $30 million. I wouldn't even be surprised at this point. Knicks are stupid. I'm sorry. Ebony, what you think?
Ebony, I think you're muted.
I'm muted. I see. Yeah. I think that Leon Rose has a way of making great contracts. We've seen that. He finds a way to get these contracts decent with decent numbers. I was ready to pay Quickley before the season started. I was like, I told you I was singing Rihanna the whole summer. Pay him, pay him what you owe him. I was singing it because I believe in him. His work ethic and his confidence. You're bound to get better with his mindset. So yeah, I definitely I will pay him. And look, every year he's done what we asked him to do. You asked him can you be a point guard? He shows you that. You ask him, can you play defense? He shows you that. You ask him, can you get a mid-range? Can you get a layup package? He says, yes, sure. I'm gonna show you that too. So I think you pay him, because what else is he gonna show us?
Dexter, would you pay him $30 million?
30. I don't know about 30 though.
I thought it's funny before this season. He wanted $25 million. My man Michael Scotto had reported that for Hoopsite. He had reported that, and I even thought before the season, 20, I said on another show, I said, yeah, anywhere from 23 to 25, I would absolutely pay him. But here's the thing, man. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Listen.
And that is what happened. That's what's happened here. I think sometimes another thing too is, for me, it's not about the money. It's about the percentage of the cap that he'll take. And then what else is the team trying to do? Now, one of the issues I have is we don't really get a sense of what the team is trying to do because we never hear from Leon Rose. That is a problem. Whether it's media or fans, we don't hear that. So we don't know. I just think you have to think about what the flexibility is. You know what? Quickly's probably going to get 30 mil this year, right? The Knicks going to have to be aggressive because somebody's going to offer him a offer sheet to that. I think he'll get somewhere now between 25 and 30 million, just the way he started this season. His game's gotten better. He came in fantastic shape in the training camp. He's gotten stronger. All the things that Ebony said, he has developed well as a player. After being picked 25th overall 3 years ago, he's been fantastic.
It's tough.
You might not want to. Yeah, here's the thing.
Tough.
You might not want to, but it doesn't matter. Yesterday's price is not today's price. So it's, to me, the Knicks are in a position where they're going to have to pay him. But that's not the real question. The real question is, where do you see him fitting into your long-term plans, right? Because we got to remember, the cap's going to go up. So you might think 30 million is a lot for a six-man Quickley, but not really, because it's going to be a bargain in like 2 years. So remember, people were tripping over Jalen Brunson's contract.
I remember.
Seasons ago.
I remember.
People were tripping over that. I'm not saying that Quickley's Jalen Brunson, but what I'm saying is you have to look at the percentage related to the cap. Don't get focused on the number. Don't think about what a six-man got 5 years ago. You can't look at it that way. That's not what matters. So in a way, $30 million for Quickley. He's
talking himself into it. I can see him.
It's fine, because you also got to think about it. You're going to have to give Jalen Brunson the bag after next season, because he's definitely going to opt out, right? He's going to opt out the way he's playing. He's played himself into a much bigger contract. So the percentage of cap that Jalen Brunson is going to take is going to be huge, which is why this brings up another thing, where the Knicks are, guys, they're in that position where they really got to start thinking about the flexibility, what star they might go after and trade for, because you can't pay everybody. Then you're talking about extending possibly Grimes the next year. You can't pay everybody. So it's some tough decisions to make. I just think Quickley's too valuable for them not to sign him. He's now played himself into a position where it's almost that they have to give him the bag if that's 30 million, because he's too valuable not to sign him, because the value in them holding on to him, if he continues to play well, even past signing that contract, if it's $30 million, they'll be able to trade him someplace else. Somebody will still want him and see value in that. So, I think they're going to have to give him the bag. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
I was thinking about when I read, shout out to Scotto. I would love to have him on the program too, mind you. But when I read that, I was like, man, Knicks are stupid. We should have gave him the 25 mil or whatever. We should have, because it's gonna be crazy.
It was a tough spot, because I saw the Knicks position on it, right? Which is that if we have a chance to get a star this year during the season, we have to keep as much flexibility as we can to get it. And it's business. I'm sure the Knicks had their number they wanted to go to. I don't know what it was. But I know what you're also saying. It's like you could have locked them in at a tighter number. The problem is it would have taken away their flexibility to use him as a trade chip this year. So it's really, this is why this coming off season, because I'm not sure the Knicks will get a start this season. Maybe they will. Who knows? You never know what can happen in the NBA. But I think this coming off season is really important for the Knicks in terms of, can they get a star? Will they pay Quickley? There's a lot of options, but I think they wanted to keep their flexibility for that. So I understand. Like, it's tough for me to call them stupid because I see what they were trying to do with flexibility. And here's the thing, Jay Ellis. You watched this a long time. Everybody here, Lee, Ryan, Ebony, you've watched this for a long time as Knicks fans. Just think, them thinking about flexibility is competence. Knicks fans ain't seen that in a while. It's competence. They're not running out making rash moves. It's like, okay, you can live with that.
I've just seen this. I still remember when I was talking to Steve Popper and he told me he don't see in Quickley improving. I'm in my mind, I'm like, are you crazy? I was saying in my mind, it's like, are you crazy? Yeah. I was like, this guy works hard. He studies film. He's a gym rat. How do you not improve? I'm sorry, Lee. Go ahead, Lee.
He's a very good player. Quickley's a very good player. Go ahead, Lee.
I think I'm on the extremist end of the spectrum with this. I've been that way since the summer. I've said it loud and proud. I try at least once a week on Twitter announce pay Quickley the bag, overpay him, make him the highest paid Knick. And no matter what number you throw at him, under 50 mil, he will eventually play to that contract. Worry about the tax, worry about all that stuff later on. You're in a position that Dallas was in with Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic. It's a guard's lead. You're very lucky if you have one star-making guard. I think we have two. I think IQ has the highest potential of any of the young players on this team outside of Brunson and Randall. I think his potential is sky high. Every year he's added something very crucial to his game while becoming a top 5 perimeter on-ball defender in the NBA. That is a unbelievable luxury to have. You pay this kid. I don't care if it's 35 mil, 37 mil a year. It's not my money. Easy to say, I know. But I am on the extremist end of the spectrum. Pay the kid, because I also think he is the eventual centerpiece for any big deal that we do. Grimes is not a centerpiece. And I know the team wants to keep RJ, Randall, Mitch, and Brunson in place. So you looked at who's going to be the centerpiece in a trade for eventually whoever it is, a Zion or a Brandon Ingram type player. It's going to be IQ. So might as well pay IQ the money to where you don't have to include a bunch of the contracts. And he's that centerpiece, both talent-wise and contract-wise, to move for a superstar player to pair with Brunson and Randall.
See, Lee, I don't think what you're saying is crazy. People going to get on you and say it's crazy because you said the $35 to $37 million.
I'm okay with that.
But I just want to support Lee for a second, because I think the point that Lee is making is that he would be willing to invest and bet on the value of what Quickley will be through that contract. I'm actually I'm with you on that too. And I do think he is the biggest upside out of all the young players that are here that I trust because of the work ethic and how he's ascended and developed through that. I don't know, but from what people talk around the team, he's the kind of guy that I think he gets paid that much, it's not going to go to his head and the work ethic is going to decline. I don't think so at all. Now, I don't think he's going to get 37. I think if his agent asks for 37, they're going to laugh at him. But I do think 30 is possible. I get the point Lee is making. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think the point Lee is making is that you have to be willing to bet on what you think his trajectory is and what you think his value is. And I happen to agree that even if they give him 30 million, we're just using that as a number, I do think that he still would have a lot of values for a lot of team. It would be a nice high number that you could put in the trade. Now, remember, you'd have a time before you'd be able to trade him. You wouldn't be able to trade him until, the following January. Let's say they signed him to that. So it's not like you could use it in a deal immediately, but there is value to keep him Quickley on his team. Like, here's the thing. How many teams can say they have another guard that good or a 6-man that good?
None.
A guy who's a fringe starter and could probably start on some teams in this league at point guard, it's not bad value. The thing, again, you got to think about the other flexibility stuff. How are you shaping this team? When Brunson takes up an even larger percentage of the cap, what are you going to do? That's the thing you got to really think about, and it's quickly part of your plans in the future. I think fans are going to maybe trip a little bit too much about the money, but if you gave him, we're talking 30, so 4 for 120 with a team option.
Let me tell you another reason why.
It's not bad. It's not bad for a 6-man.
Jay, I got one more short reason, then you move on for me. There's something else I really liked about Immanuel Quickley, and that's his faith. I like that he's an outward, proud, proclaimed believer, and that he brings that on the court, both with opposing teams, players, and the Knicks players. It reminds me of how Allen Houston was with Charlie Ward in those late 90s teams. When everyone did together, they would say a prayer after a game, and it really united them and helped create an identity. I'm not saying that you need to be Christian or that that's the right way to be, but I like there's a very high character player on this team, because if you're going to invest in somebody, investing in character is one of the best things you can do. And he's always going to be that type of guy on and off the court. No trouble, no antics on Snapchat or TikTok. He's going to be there spreading in his word, his belief, the word of God. And he's going to be uniting this team through a shared faith. Man, I mean, you're investing in someone who has a high cultural capital. That's a great investment, no matter how you look at it.
I personally like it because I feel like faith and confidence kind of go hand in hand. So I feel like because he works hard and he has that faith and that kind of translates to confidence, he's going to reach his ceiling. I don't have a doubt. Go ahead, Ryan G. Go. Before you say anything, Ryan G, I'm really looking forward to this answer because if you guys watch the show, you know how usually Lee, he's the one who's going to go all the way, right? That's usually how it goes. Like Lee's going to go all the way. But if there's somebody who's not gonna go all the way, it's usually between me and Ryan G, and I might say Ryan G even more so than me. We go the other route. But Ryan G, what do you think?
Okay, so here's my thing. Do I agree that the Knicks should pay quickly? Yes, but I also agree with the fact that the Knicks have to keep their flexibility in mind as well, because just for the simple fact now, I'm going to start off with what I'm saying with this. I don't know how signing quickly is going to affect the Knicks in terms of like first apron, second apron, etc. All I know is that when if the Knicks go into that second apron when it comes to salary, it's going to be very hard to operate with that second apron, and you have to make sure that you have a team in place that's going to be a contender for years to come if you're going to enter that second apron when it comes to salary. And like I said, right now, I don't know if the Knicks signing quickly to 30, 35 million is going to put them in that second apron. But I think what the Knicks are trying to do at the moment is they're trying to keep their flexibility and be like, okay, you know what? All right, let's look at the team this year. Do we have enough to where this team can be a constant contender to where we can re-sign these guys and go into that second apron where we know for a fact this team is going to contend year afterwards for a title, and where the Knicks are going to be strapped and they can't really make a move, or it's going to be very difficult to make a move. So I think what the Knicks are trying to do at the moment is they're just trying to see how the team is at the moment and see how they perform. And then based on their performance this season, I think that's going to tell what the Knicks are going to do in the future, whether they're going to move on from quickly and try to trade for a piece that's going to turn the Knicks into that contending team, or whether they're going to look at the roster and be like, you know what we have is good enough to challenge for a title. So you know what? Yeah, we're going to re-sign quickly. We already know we're going to re-sign Brunson in the future, and we're going to stick with these guys and see where they take us. So am I on board with signing quickly? Yes, but at the same time, I do understand where the Knicks are coming from, and I do like the fact that they are keeping that flexibility in hand, just in case if they see that this team is not going to be a team that's going to compete, at least they have that flexibility to know that, you know what, we have pieces here that we could trade, before we get into that second apron to where we could bring that star player here and then be a contender for years to come down the road.
Well said, Ryan G. Well said, my man. Because both things can be true, right? You can value what Lee said in valuing him, and also understand why the Knicks didn't sign him or come to a number. I think, listen, from what I hear and know, the Knicks love Quickley. They love him in the building, hard worker, all this stuff. This is what I hear from people around the team. But it's business. And Ryan hit the nail on the head. They want to keep that flexibility. This is what good organizations do. Mm-hmm. You don't want to get into that second apron with all those penalties that are coming when you're not a legit contender. Right now, the Knicks are fringe on the outside trying to be an actual NBA championship contender. They're not there yet, but they're trying to be like that. And so I actually think, again, this goes back to something I was saying to Jay Ellis earlier, which is like, this is part of the front office competence that you got to give credit for. When you assess the risk reward, when you're looking at the value, it's not just as simple as just sign them and don't worry about the penalties and any of that stuff. That stuff matters. So I think Ryan is spot on. They are looking at this season to see what this team is at the end of the season. Does somebody who we didn't think would be available pops up this year at the trade deadline, pops up at right around the draft? Any of those things can happen. But the Knicks are now in a position where they have the flexibility. They got their picks. Had they signed quickly to the extension this offseason, they wouldn't have had that flexibility because they couldn't trade him until next year. So, or the offseason. So I understand it, man. I think Quickley's a really good player with a lot of value, but at the same time, I don't think it was the worst move in the world that the Knicks couldn't come to an agreement with them, or some indictment on the front office or failure on their part. I think it's business. It is what it is. I think Quickley's going to get his money. I think Knicks fans would like to see him stick with the Knicks. It's my daughter's favorite Knick player. She got the Quickley jersey. She loves Quickley. So she'll be sad if he goes. But you know what? I think keeping flexibility is a smart move when you're not at the contender status. I think Ryan said it perfectly. I also think Lee's point is fantastic too on the value of Quickley. And if it comes down to that this offseason. So a lot of it depends on how this season plays out, guys. We just got to see.
Do you think, I have a question. Do you think his playoff outing made them a little hesitant too? Or maybe the Evan situation?
I thought, it's a good question, Ebony, because it's funny. When I was at media this year, somebody had asked him about that, about his playoff performance. I was thinking about asking him when he was at the podium, and I'm sure it probably did because he didn't shoot the ball well, and he didn't seem as aggressive in the Miami series that we had seen him before. I also think, but I'll say this personally, I think we, and I mean as media, as fans, I think we have to look and say, like, look, this is the first time he had been in the second round on that stage, right? Mm-hmm. Players are going to have struggles. I don't think that deterred them as much from giving the contract. I think it's a lot more about what Ryan was saying. I think Ryan hit the nail on the head. I think it was them assessing the situation and saying, we'd love to keep this player in our system, but we need to have the flexibility. I think that had more to do with it. I think the organization is well aware of what Quickley's makeup is and his work ethic and how he is. You hear nothing but great stuff about him. So I think, yes, anytime somebody's a bad playoff performance, it gives you, pause for cause, right? Where you're kind of like, I don't know. But, I think he's shown his focus this year and bounce back. I think it's more about the flexibility. If you ask me, I think it's really more about that for them than anything else. I think they wanted to keep that flexibility. And I think that was a smart move on their part. As long as they don't go out and trade for, the wrong person, it'll look right.
Yeah. If they trade, it'll hurt me too to trade IQ. Definitely.
Oh, man, it'll hurt.
Listen, and I get it because Knicks fans are proud that we have to call a spade what it is. IQ was a very good draft pick and find at 25. Fantastic. And the development of him, you give credit to him, you give credit to the coaching staff. So I think for a lot of Knicks fans, you want to see these homegrown guys sort of grow along with the team. And I think there's pride from the fan base in that development. So I completely understand that and get that. But yeah, I also think, as a fan, I think fans should think about what Ryan said and think about how they're thinking about it from a business aspect and building this team long term. I think if you asked every Knicks fan, if you said, hey, I'm not going to put a name or a player, but if I said, hey, after this season, for the next 5 years, I'm not guaranteeing you a championship, but I'm saying for the next 5 years, that you will be a legit NBA title contender. With some flexibility to make some more moves, Knicks fans would sign up for that in a heartbeat. That's what you want. So I think the team has to take the best chance they can get to try to accomplish that goal. I really believe they have to do that.
All right. And when I say dumb, when I call them dumb, I don't really think they were dumb because I understand all of that to the T. Me saying they're done is me going, I knew this was going to happen. I knew he was going to get better because he's gotten better every single year. And I knew that price tag is going to go up even higher. So that's really what I'm really saying. The other thing for guys who don't know about the ramifications of reaching the second apron. One, when you reach the second apron, you do not have the ability to have a mid-level exception. You only have low level. You only have the minimum available. Two, one of the craziest things is when you're in that second apron, you have less picks to trade. It caps you on the picks to trade. I think you can only trade 7, I believe was the number. And if you're under the apron, you can trade as many as you want. I believe that's what it is exactly. I have to double check that, but it caps you. And also, you know how teams, when they get over that apron, when they're like cap strapped and stuff, they'll just wait for players who are cut to be picked up later after they pick up waivers. You lose the ability to pick up players off waivers. So it really caps you on how you can add talent. So you teams have to really be careful how you maneuver the books. So like if we do end up signing quickly, like what most likely is going to happen is I can see Hartenstein end up leaving, and then you're just going, we'll put Jericho Sims as the backup 5 and hope for the best. I can see something like that happening if we do choose quickly, because like you said, we have to manage the cap. So this is going to be, next summer is going to be interesting.
It's a big summer for the Knicks. Lee brought up a point that he mentioned Jalen Brunson and what happened with the Mavericks. The one difference I just want to note is the Knicks, because Jalen Brunson was a second round pick, the Knicks have the ability to match any offer. that comes for Immanuel Quickley, right? And it could also use him in the sign and trade. So even still in the summer, they have a little bit more flexibility in how they can operate with that. And I think that does matter here. So if the Knicks don't have a position, the Knicks still have the position they're in the driver's seat with this. The one thing they got to be afraid of, just I also want to be fair and be totally complete on this, you got to be afraid of some team getting them to an offer sheet really quick, putting in a poison pill.
Jeremy Lin?
That could Jeremy Lin. I saw somebody mention that in the chat, and I thought that's a good point. So you have to be a little bit careful of that. So whatever you decide is going to be quickly after the draft, no pun intended, what it is that you want to do there. Like, you're going to have to decide with that. And the finances matter here. You know, I've seen some people in the chat saying, oh, you got to take care of your employees. And this isn't, most of us where we work, everybody's a budget, but there's no salary cap. Okay. And it doesn't prevent performance. It's not the same thing. The Knicks, I think, have shown to take care of the player. They've extended Barrett. They've extended Julius Randle, despite his up and down seasons, right? But the NBA next year is going to be different. And this is the point Ryan's making than it was the previous couple of years because of the second apron and the new collective bargaining agreement. So now it's going to be harder for teams that hit the luxury tax to acquire better players and pay. You're going to be more penalties on top of that. So how you build your team is going to matter. Finding value signings are going to matter. You just made a great point, Jay Ellis. One of the casualties that could be, depending on the percentage of the cap that Quickley takes up, is like, okay, Isaiah Hartenstein's a free agent next year. You might not be able to bring him back.
Yep.
But to that point you made, Jericho Sims, they signed him to a 3-year deal last year, and he's on a really good value contract. So sometimes a move like they did like that, that's also a smart move because you might have been thinking ahead. Let's lock this guy in now where we have him on low value, and it could extend a year before we have to worry about another backup center. So There's a lot of things in team building. It's not just, we all say it's easy because somebody else's money, but it's a lot of things you have to think about, and more that you have to think about now with this new CBA. So it's just, I know what you're saying, JL. And what hurts your soul, man, is that, like I said, it's the Fat Joe words. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Exactly.
So it hurts. I get it.
I know why they did it. Like, theoretically, because I study basketball. I study this stuff, but my emotions, because I'm an IQ fan, it's dumb. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I get it, man. I get it.
Oh man, but salute to the chat, and thank you. Shout out to Alexander who sends a $5 super chat. If you're loving the show, hit the like and subscribe. And shout out to Dexter. We always have great basketball conversations when Dexter is here. It's always a lot of fun happening over here. So salute to you guys, and hope you're enjoying the show. I want to get into Dexter's brain a little bit, and if you're almost at the 20 game mark of the season, like 17. So I just want to ask you, like, has anything surprised you about the way this season has gone so far?
Oh, has anything surprised me? Yeah, that's a good question. I think the biggest surprise, I think for me personally, and I feel like other Knick fans might feel this way too. I think the biggest surprise has to be, it's probably a tie of two things. It's either the 3-point shooting or RJ Barrett to start this season.
Yes.
Or Mitchell Robinson's dominance on the offensive glass. I'm probably more surprised by the latter with Robinson. Like, I thought he could be good, but not this good. And also how good he's been defensively. I think that's the thing that's actually probably getting lost a little bit more than the rebounding. It's like overall defensively, he's been really good. I think he's a depoy candidate. I think Rudy Gobert is probably the front runner for that right now. Again, but he's got to be right there with how good he's been. We got to think about where Mitchell Robinson was 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Lee talked about this, right? He's fouling, couldn't stay on the floor.
Yep.
Knicks fans were frustrated with this. Now he's a disciplined defender. He's not making the dumb fouls anymore. My one concern, this was part of my concerns, Jay Ellis, that I had. My one concern is the free throw shooting. And I talked about this with Stefan Bondi the other day.
Yeah.
The free throw shooting is a major concern for the Knicks. And I think it's because we talked about, as I said, not who starts, guys, who closes the games.
Mm-hmm.
Can you close games with Mitchell Robinson? You saw Coach Thibodeau do this against Miami. And I thought it was the right move. Hartenstein was playing well. The second unit was cooking. He was using Hartenstein at the high post for some really good passes and all of that. But Mitchell Robinson, they're going to use the hack of Mitch. He's no confidence in his free throws. The last time I checked, he's shooting just over 38% from the line. I think it's a legit concern for Knicks fans. I think they should be concerned about him and his ability to stay on the floor. But I think the surprise is just how good he's been on the glass, how good he's been defensively. I would say that's probably the biggest surprise for me. But Mitch has got to, if he can get that free throw shooting to about even 60%, then you can keep him on the floor. But as a non-shooter and then you can't hit free throws, I don't care how good you are defensively, it's going to be tough to keep you on the floor late in games against elite teams. It's going to be really tough.
Yeah, nah, I agree. He hit 2 free throws today, all right? T, 100% from the field today from the free throw line. Let's go.
In a row.
Hey, man, he's got to keep that going, man. He's got to keep that confidence going.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you have your high school coach sleep over, man. You get your free throws.
Made all the difference.
Exactly. More questions. I had another question for. I see, Ebony's over there smiling. And, if you don't know Dexter already, every time somebody compliments Mitch, Ebony's happy. So.
Ebony, are you the president of the Mitchell Robinson fan club?
I guess so. They're trying to appoint me. I took the job.
Appoint you? You took it, like you said.
She took it.
Now, what you were saying earlier about Grimes and RJ, talking about defense and how it's 2 sides of the court, that you speaking my language. I really believe that because we have offensive players who only play one side of the court and nobody says anything. Why is it an issue when you have somebody, a dog on the other end? And that I felt people were getting on Mitch a lot, and now Grimes too. I feel like I got to step up for Grimes, even though he ain't giving me much to work with today. But I feel like I have to do that. I'm a defense first kind of person. So
I think like here's the thing though, right? Like you can't, today's NBA, right? Like you can't just be a player on one side of the ball. I mean, either way. So I'm a big believer that you need to have as many, the best teams in this league have a plethora of two-way players. And those are you look at Boston right now, even though they don't have the depth, they're 6 strong, but they have a lot of good two-way guys, right? And that's what helps. I think the more two-way players you can acquire, the better. So to Lee's point, when you want to have the patience with Grimes, because he's so good on one side of the ball, it matters. Now, he's going to have to hit his shots. I want to be very clear to the fans speaking out there. If he's just playing good, if he's being Tony Allen out there, that ain't going to work. Tony Allen can't play. No disrespect to Tony Allen, who's a fantastic defender. I'm just saying that kind of player can't work in the league anymore.
Nope.
You have to be good. It's the same point I'm making about Mitch. We all know Mitch is not going to be Hakeem Olajuwon in the post, okay? We know he's not Joel Embiid. But as a rim-running center who's fantastic defensively and can get rebounds, if I'm going to play you in crunch time, you got to hit free throws. That's part of offense too, right? Mm-hmm. You got to be able to hit free throws. So I think what you want is two-way players that don't have glaring limitations, that you can't play them on the floor when it's crunch time. That's what hurts teams. It's hard to have non-shooters or guys who have glaring offensive weaknesses. The thing is, we know Grimes can shoot. That's why I'm not as worried about him. We know what he can do from downtown. And JL has talked about the play that's now in his heart forever and what he did against Jimmy Butler at the end of I was at game 3 in the Heat series. You know what he also can do defensively. So I'm not worried about him. I really do think actually Mitch not hitting free throws is a bigger concern. And I think if he continues to not hit free throws, the Knicks fans are smart and intelligent. It's going to get written about more. It's going to get talked about more. So I think he knows that's something he's got to work on it, and hopefully I don't know how long he needs his coach to stay with him or so he can go 2 for 2 again or whatever it may be. But I think that's something that's going to be. But the more two-way players you can have, and I think fans can't forget about defense. It matters too. And when you have a guy who's a dog who you've seen shoot, and that's the thing with me with Grimes. I think with Grimes, the confidence the shot looks a little bit off in terms of his confidence, and then he looks hesitant to put the ball on the floor. Yeah, that's something I think to watch going. But I'm with Lee on this. I think you got to let him work through it. It's a process. You can't just write it off and we know he's a talented guy, and Tibbs has empowered him. I think just let him be, and I think he'll figure it out, man. I think he'll figure it out. And if he doesn't, then he doesn't.
I didn't get to answer the question, but real quick,
Go ahead.
yeah, with Grimes, I agree with Ryan and Lee with the situation. Give him time. Like they said, give him time. The game might really still just be fast for him. And I know they say they don't listen to social media, but they do. So as fans, we got to try to get behind this young man because he's not the first young player we had to start off slow. You know, we used to talk about RJ and his infamous slow start. So like let him grow. Just let him grow. At least he's doing something on the other side and not letting it affect that side of the basketball. So that should show, that he's still in it, or trying. His confidence might be a little shaky right now, but before the injury had happened, he was getting into a rhythm. So hopefully he can try to regain that, because at one point he was like shooting 40%, from 3 point. So hopefully he could get that back. Maybe it's just like RJ, the injury slowed him down a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's definitely fair.
I agree. All right. So you already mentioned this, right? Let me see if you had another answer, Dex. So you talk about the things that are wrong with the team so far. What do you see that you think the Knicks should fix? I know we have a successful season so far.
Yeah, I know it feels like, and we're coming off a win, but I know for some people it feels like a loss. I kind of get that, but they're 11-7. I think I mean the Knicks are right in striking distance for what I thought they could be. We talked about this before, J. Ellis, right? They could be a top 4 seed in the East. I think that's realistic. I thought that was realistic coming in there. What I think they need to fix, Mitchell Robinson definitely needs to fix his free throws. I think that's for sure. I think they have to fix their intensity, like we talked about at the top of the show. They got to fix their intensity when it comes out to handling teams that are in the lower echelon of the league. You have to come out and eat the food that's there.
Yeah.
You gotta finish that meal. You can't take nights off when Phoenix is down 2 stars. You can't take the role players there lightly.
Yep.
You can't take lightly this Detroit team because they've lost 15 in a row. If you want to get to that next level in terms of winning, that focus has to be there, particularly on the defensive end. That's where I agree with Coach Thibodeau in what he said today to the media after the game, and just being that the defensive end is where they needed to work. And he's right. The effort wasn't there. These 2 to 3 games this week, you didn't see it from the start. And if they're going to get into the in-season tournament knockout round, and they want to make noise against Milwaukee, they're going to have to give good defensive effort. So I think it's that. And I think the other thing for me, we were talking about this before we started the show, ball movement.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to a little bit about what Josh Hart talked about the other day. I think the team is still a little too ISO heavy, too reliant on Brunson and Randall. I think that's easy to scheme against for good defenses in playoff situations. So I think there has to be more diversity in the offense in terms of moving the ball around, getting other guys involved, and not just having cleared out. One of my criticisms with the Knicks and watching them as closely as I do has just been the offense has looked a bit antiquated. Some of the sets they're running, I think there could be a much more diversity in the offense. I'm somebody who believes in ball movement. Listen, the fact you have Jalen Brunson is a player. He can cook for you in the fourth quarter. We saw this last year in the playoffs in both rounds. We know what he can do. Great to have when things break down, but you got to get other guys involved. There has to be more ball movement. Some of the Knicks' best wins this season have been when they've been moving the ball really well. Saw that against Miami. You saw that in some of their other great wins. I just think that's the thing. I think that's the 2 areas I think they can improve on, but there's still time to improve it. Lee said there's a long season. We are 18 games in. I really like to judge a team when they're 25 games in or so. It's still early. I think Knicks fans should be proud of the 11-7 start. I think they should be proud they advanced to the knockout round of the in-season tournament. I think that means something. The Knicks are going to play meaningful games for a team that still has a lot of young players in a pressurized situation on the road next week. And just enjoy the ride, man. I think everybody's wondering who's the next star. Just enjoy the ride. You got to enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying covering it. It's been fun.
It has been fun. It's funny. I feel like Tibbs is trying to put more movement into the team. He's doing it in the Tibbs way. It's still not like Golden State offense, But
Golden State going through it right now.
Yeah, but he's done it in like a little Tibbs way. Oh, did we lose Dex? But like so far, what I've seen is oh, he messed up his camera. Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say with the Josh Hart, I call him emergency exit. I call him the emergency exit. They seem to look for him when the shot clock is expiring all the time. Like, here you go, Josh.
Too funny.
You take it, Josh. Nah, but I do. I think we have to pass the ball. I agree with Dexter when he comes back. We have to pass the ball because every time we didn't hit 20 assists, except for one time that Boston game. I'm gonna keep mentioning we've lost. So Boston was the only game where we had over 20 assists and still lost, and that's because we missed like a billion free throws.
Right.
So
Also,
so that'll do it to you.
I also feel like we still struggle against those tall teams. Like I remember playing the Timberwolves and the Pelicans specifically. Let's go, Lee. The Timberwolves and the Pelicans specifically. Those long teams with the long arms that can get into passing lanes and also cover the rim. We have trouble with those teams. I remember we got into the lane. We try to do a little drive kick thing. The drive and kick wasn't there. That's a staple. Drive and kick wasn't there. You would drive, you try to kick, and the long arm would just poke the ball away. You know, you try to drive and you got Rudy Gobert there. You're trying to do a floater over Rudy Gobert. You got nowhere to go. So there's certain times where I feel like our height still has us at a detriment. And it's like, even when we do try to pass the ball, you know, it's not going to work. But these bottom feeder teams like the Atlanta Hawks and those guys, we pass the ball, we looking like savants against those teams. We get 28 assists those games, and it's all going well. But for us, I feel like the next step is figuring out how to pass the ball and get the right angles when we played those high defense teams like the Celtics. The Celtics will switch every single play and promote ISO play and take away the pick and roll because there's no roll. They're switching. So like, how do you get assists when we play teams like that? We have to figure out a way to garner assists when we're playing these real tough defensive teams. That's the way I see it.
I agree. I also agree with Gamers Channel too. I just looked down and says we need to close out on shooters, and
Yes.
I totally agree because playing like we played today is we can only beat Detroit. Detroit
shot 20. She's 20. The 25th and 3-point shooting, and they were looking like the Splash Brothers was on their team today. I don't understand.
They was hot. I was expecting that. It's nothing new. You know, the who's of the who's. It always happens. The role players always get us. The people who filling in always get us. It's nothing new. Nothing new.
James Dolan staple.
Yeah, so yeah, we do have to do a better job closing out on our shooters. I see Brunson sometimes going under the screen. Man. Even in the Charlotte game, he kept losing Brandon Miller. I'm like, he hit 5 threes on us before, and now he's torching us now. Do not leave that man, please. Don't leave him.
Do not leave that man, please.
Yeah, but we got to definitely do a better job with the shooting. I know Tibbs, by design, he wants people to shoot, but this is a shooting league now.
No, he doesn't want people to shoot. He doesn't. That's the myth. He does not want people to shoot. He wants you to protect the paint first, and then go out to the shooters. The problem is we only do half of the job. That's the problem. We go protect the paint, and then depending on how we feel that day, close out. Like there was one shot, Sasser. He was camped out in the corner 3 for like 20 minutes, and he was like, or was that Hayes? I think it was Hayes actually. It was Hayes. He was camped out in the corner 3 for like 20 minutes, and I was like, is anybody gonna run out? They're gonna even pretend to run out, like. So we have to just be more disciplined. We have to be more disciplined. But yeah.
On both ends.
Yeah, welcome back, Dex. Welcome back. Technical difficulties happen sometimes.
Yeah, sorry, technical difficulties. I had a new camera and it went out, and I had to switch them all at once. So it's fine.
Got you.
Yeah,
it happens.
I'm back.
But yeah. We talked all about the ball movement thing. I'm gonna ask you.
I heard you guys. I was listening to you guys. I heard everything you guys said. I heard everything you talked about there. Yeah, I thought you mentioned something good, JLS. You talking about size and how it impacts the team, and I think you mentioned Minnesota, how they match up. I was actually out in Minneapolis for that game. I saw that game, and yeah, they've been struggling at some bigger teams. It makes you think if the Knicks are going to address something in a trade, even if it's for a role player, they could add a bigger wing. But those are not easy to come by, right? And everybody wants a 6'8" wing who could be a two-way player. There's not a lot of them out there. So yeah, that's something that's definitely affects them. I thought that was a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm
That's
part
why.
of the
So go ahead.
sorry, Jim.
Go ahead.
I had a question real quick. I'm part of the I guess quietly, but it's getting louder. I'm working my way up. I'm gonna put the Jacob Hive. So do you think that's a possibility? Jacob Toppin getting a shot?
Oh, you asking about? I'm sorry, I cut out for a second. You asking about Jacob Toppin?
Yeah. Do you think that's actually a possibility? Something in house just in case.
It's crazy. Somebody had asked me that earlier today too. It's interesting because they still have that need for the back and forth. That was such a concern for people going into this year, right? Like, should they have a back and forth? I think you got to see a lot more from him. I wonder if he could be in a situation where he kind of comes in, he knows what his role is. He's gonna, maybe it's just to give some fouls. I think it's about how good can he defend at that next level. It's one thing to see him do it in Westchester. It's another thing to be like, can you defend at the NBA level? And so I think it's an interesting look because they could use some size. He shot the ball pretty well in Westchester. I got to be honest, I've read a little bit, but I haven't watched any of the Westchester Knicks yet this year to watch him play to fully comment on that. But from what I've read and looked at the numbers, he shot the ball well from three. It's just about how can he adjust to the speed at the NBA level. I think it's something. If the Knicks are going that route, that means they're going to start to say they're getting cooked by some larger teams, like you guys were mentioning. And if they got to go to Jacob Toppin before they can make a trade, this is no shade to Jacob Toppin, but it would just say they're in a lot of trouble in terms of getting cooked. In terms of getting cooked by those teams. Look,
Listen,
you can always give them a look, but I think you're really reaching if you're looking there. That's all I'm saying. Like if they got to go there, it's like, that's so good.
So basically, don't really expect it.
They never really. They never really. The only way I can see it is like, how usually Miles McBride gets burned if somebody gets injured,
right? Like if Hart goes down, that would be probably the candidate where you could see him step up into that. But it's like, you could, but I'll say this, even if Josh Hart went down with an injury, we hope that he does not. But if Josh Hart went down with injury, I feel like Tibbs would be like, nope, we're going to slide Miles McBride right up and make RJ play some starting and back and forth and keep this thing moving. Like that's what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it says a lot that Tibbs liked his rotation the way it is, and the Knicks didn't really address trying to get it back and forth. I wasn't as concerned about it as some other people were, to be honest, heading into the season. But we have seen how it's been problematic against some of the teams that the Knicks don't necessarily match up well with. JL has brought up Minnesota. You also look at Boston with KP and the size that were there. We'll see with Milwaukee, who has two big guys in Giannis and Brook Lopez on Tuesday. So I think there's going to be some situations where it's going to rear its ugly head. The thing is, how do the Knicks address this? Who's a guy they can get that would fill that need? I've been thinking about this for a while. I don't know if you guys have any names. JLS, you got a name?
That was going to be my next question, actually.
He was ready.
Yeah, I don't. Somebody said Jacob Toppin won't be playing until we clinch a playoff seed. Probably right. I don't know, man. I've thought about this. Some names that are floating around there right now, as people have said, Bojan Bogdanovic to come off the bench. But here's my thing: like Bogdanovic helps you with shooting, and he doesn't really give you. He's got some decent size, but what's he doing for you defensively? Who's he stopping? I mean, I won't go that far. I was going to say maybe I'd rather see Jacob Toppin. That's too far. It's too far.
I'll rather see
yeah? Oh, man.
I would. I ain't going to hold you. I would too.
You going to say it? You got to damn.
Hell no.
I'm actually I said hell no. I was looking at the chat. Some people said Kyle Anderson, who's an expiring contract. I'll tell you this. Timberwolves ain't moving no Kyle Anderson.
Nope.
That's not they love Kyle Anderson
Kyle
out
Anderson's
there.
amazing.
I was talking to some people around the Timberwolves. They like him while I agree with I like where the person's thinking.
Yeah.
Somebody said JaMychal Green.
A quick
Not
feeling.
a terrible option.
I saw Mike Scott. Shout out to Mike.
Yep.
Dorian Finney-Smith.
But you would have to give up a lot to get him, I think, right? Like
That's
more
why
than
the
we
first
would
round pick.
want to.
I read two first is what they're asking for, which is too much. I think that's their like, scare people away.
Posturing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, the Nets trading to the Knicks, like the Nets are going to want something.
I
For the Knicks, that's definitely going to want something for Dorian.
They got all the wings,
They're not letting him go for cheap.
They got all the
Right.
6'8" wings over there.
Yeah,
Everybody the
that's all
same
they
size
do.
on that team.
But Dorian. Somebody said KJ Martin. So shout out to Fritz. What's up, Fritz? KJ Martin. That's not a bad option. I don't mind that either. It's what's the cost? I think that's more of the type of player you might be able to take a flyer on.
Hell yeah.
But
His pops played here.
yeah. I think that's a decent option, but I think Philly's going to like him coming off his bench, so I don't see them. It's like you got to think about why are these other teams giving that up in that situation. Like, yeah, JaMychal Green, KJ Martin, I don't think those are terrible options as backup fours. I think, and they'll be cheaper than Bojan Bogdanovic. Dorian Finney-Smith will be nice because he's a 3-and-D player, and I think you guys are onto something that the Nets would definitely try to make the Knicks pay. And I don't know if I'm giving up 2 firsts for Dorian Finney-Smith. Maybe 1, 2. Like, it's a little steep. It's a little steep.
We always mention Jeremy Grant here, but like even
Expensive.
you
That's
do.
gonna be expensive.
And he's expensive right now.
He is expensive. Like not even because you know what it is. Like I feel like you can slide RJ at the 2, you can put him at the 3, and then he can also be backup power forward. I feel like it solves 2 things at once. But with the Quickley thing and wanting more money next year, it's going to make it even more complicated.
Right, and you're going to pay Jeremy Grant? Nah, no. That goes to Ryan's point. That totally messes up the cap situation, depending on who you send out. But that's another high number that you're bringing in. So
but he's 30 a year. He's pretty much 30 a year. It's just he has a lot of years, but he's 30.
What would you give? Yeah, what would you give up for him?
What would I give up?
Because you got to make the money match. So you're talking about Fournier and a couple of other pieces. What if they say they want Fournier, Grimes, McBride, and a pick?
I'd do that in a heartbeat.
They probably want more than one pick.
I feel like the money doesn't match though, but I would do that in a heartbeat. I would do it.
And where are you playing Jeremy Grant?
I'll play him at the 3.
What about a little younger? Not too young, but a little younger, because there's a lot of ruffled feathers right now with Golden State and Kuminga maybe even, or somebody over there.
I like Kuminga. He just can't really his shooting. I like
Fritz
Kuminga.
But Ebony, I like how you're thinking because you're like, let me go a little young upside and let me give Golden State some pieces they think that could help them win now. I don't think that's, and then you're banking on, can you develop and get something out of him? I don't think that's crazy. I think in that vein, and it wouldn't cost you a whole lot. No. And listen, Golden State hasn't hit on their recent draft picks in the way that they thought they would. They haven't, right? I mean, Wiseman's not. Did Wiseman get a DNP? He had a DNP tonight, right? He didn't even play. Wiseman's not even. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Wiseman was the hero, and then. Crazy.
That was their number 1 pick, was it?
He's number 2 overall. Yeah, first round, number 2 overall.
Yeah, 2. Yeah.
But I like how you're thinking in that. Can you get somebody that you could, develop something like Kuminga? You said Kuminga or Moody? I remember what you said.
No, Kuminga. They're not getting rid of Moody. I don't think they will let go of Moody. That's why I think they'll be more so Kuminga because he's been really up and down. And Moody's been shooting the ball well, even though I don't know why Steve Kerr took him out the game the other night against the Kings. That made no sense to me.
Yeah, I think the way you're thinking on that and getting somebody that's got some size that could come in and play and fit in with the young core. I don't think it's almost like doing the Cam Reddish trade in a way again, right? Like thinking in that kind of vein. Can you take a flyer on somebody that didn't work somebody else? And can you sometimes you need to change the scenery. I don't think thinking that way is crazy. And he fits into the timeline of the team. I don't
He wouldn't have to do as much as maybe they're expecting on Golden State, depending on what we ship out for him. And I think it would be cheap. I don't think we would have to give up the world to get him here. And just he's a defender too. He does play that end. So after the length, why not?
Yeah, I wonder what player they would want back in return that they think could help them right now. That's the thing that would be interesting. What's the player they would want in return that they think can really help them right now that the Knicks wouldn't have to give up too much, So it's like, yeah, it'd be very interesting to see what they'd want. But I like the thought process behind it. Yeah, I definitely like the thought process behind it.
Man, I feel like you should be like KMC. Like, you got any of them wings? Like, we need wings, man.
Yeah, man. Everybody need wings. I'm looking at some of the options people said in the chat. Somebody said Danilo Gallinari. We ain't gotta go back there. We ain't gotta do that. Nah. I mean, it's not Gallinari's not crazy, but it's just like,
why?
Because you're asking him to give you 15 minutes a night, but I don't trust the defense.
Me neither.
At this stage.
Me neither.
I think Gallinari's better suited for that role on a team where there'd be a lot less pressure on him to fill, and he could play 10, 15 a night. Like, he's still got something to give, but I'm not sure that's definitely what the Knicks need. Not sure about that.
Yeah, I agree.
He would need like a Denver team, Danilo. He would need like to play next to Jokic or something. Something like that.
In Philly.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, somebody said Gallo's washed and shooting 31% from three. Yeah. I didn't even realize his numbers from downtown on that. So shout out to whoever said that numbers.
The Roosters washed. That's crazy.
Danilo.
Oh man.
Man. Yeah, man.
Yo.
We'll see. Trade season's coming, guys. Trade season's
trade season is coming. Mike, come to the show. We want to talk to you, Mike. Tracy is coming.
Yo, Jay Ellis, I'll set that up. I'll connect you guys.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Assist. Yeah, you gotta get Mike on for trade season, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, shout out to the homie Michael Scotto, man.
Definitely. Appreciate this, man.
Brooklyn guy too. So good dude.
Brooklyn guy. Okay. He gets another shit.
Yeah. Brooklyn guy.
BK, we outside.
We outside. Come join the BK pod. Dallas is welcome to. Dallas is in the building. Shout out to All right, yeah. I've got everything I wanted to ask you out of my system. I don't know if you guys want to ask him anything or if Dexter wants to say anything.
Do I want to say anything? Well, I just want to thank y'all for having me again. I mean, I'm always honored to come up here and talk with you guys and talk hoops. And after Knicks win, I think the last time I came was after a loss. So
we had a great combo that day though.
We had a great combo though, so it was good. It's always good times. I mean, and I'll say this, I'll say the message I say all the time coming on, like, happy to see y'all doing your thing. We have to support independent media, especially for people of color. I will always keep preaching that message. We have to keep doing it. People of color, underrepresented communities, we have to continue to support each other and uplift. And one of the things I love to see in the Knicks community is, I've told you this, Jay Ellis, and I've told Ryan and Lee, we've had these conversations now to you, Ebony, is just how everybody works together and uplifts each other, and no one person's bigger than anything. And we all work together. Jay Ellis was able to come up with me on New York Got Game and sit with me. Lee's been on with me multiple times. Ebony, I'd love to have you on too. Ryan, we're gonna do something soon and connect. And it's been beautiful because Jay Ellis and I, we never even met till a couple months ago. We're Brooklyn guys.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple months ago, when Jay came through to the studio, and so Ryan and I, we're gonna connect to Lee. I hope we definitely connect soon one day. But I appreciate all the people, all the fans that watch your guys' content, my content, the next content we do. I just think it's beautiful that everybody can work together and understand that we're nothing without the people, you know. It's the people that all make this happen, and the beautiful positive energy. So as long as we keep connecting, you know, it's dope. So shout out to all the people watching, because I think you guys had one point, so it was like 90 people watching. And like that's on. Hey, y'all staying up with us at 12, 16 a.m. Y'all, you know, you're rocking. So shout out to the people that supporting and super chat, all that stuff. Like I think those people, the fans commenting, I think they deserve love too, because they're part of the media community and content creation community. And yeah, I support that all day, man. So salute to y'all, man. That's it. I'm just salute to you guys, because you guys are putting in the work, staying up late. You know, you guys work jobs. I think that needs to be respected too. And staying up late and creating a content. So I'm sorry for being long-winded, but I like to give the respect to the creators out there that are doing good stuff. So
I appreciate
I just want to give y'all the salute. Now I will keep continuously support. As long as y'all keep doing the good work, man.
That means you will be supporting for a very long time.
There we go. I like it.
Yo, I saw in the chat somebody had a question that said, "What about Dante?"
Dante who?
I guess
DiVincenzo.
I guess he wanted your opinion.
What do you think about Dante's contribution? I did see that.
Dante's been good, man. Dante's been doing exactly what I thought that he would do with the Knicks this year. I thought that was a very good signing. I think he's a really good shooter. He had 4 threes today. He had 3 big ones in the fourth. You see what he can do. He also gives a lot of effort on defense. You know, sometimes he gambles a little bit too much for steals, but I think he fits into the culture, and he's a solid, he's a, around average defender. He's, but he's not a minus.
Right.
And he gives effort. And I think that's the point I was making before. I think, when the Knicks made that signing, you can never not have enough players to give efforts on both ends. Hey, Ebony, I know you're nodding your head because just defense first, right? And I think that matters. Also, and I'll keep bringing this up, and I hope we talk about this later in the year, to Ryan's point, because I think Ryan's point will come out more and more, is that, he's a player that the Knicks were able to sign at a good number, right, guys?
Yep.
And he is part of that flexibility. He's part of whether you want to move him, whether you want to keep him. Yeah. He doesn't hurt the books in that way. He's a really good player. That was a really good contract. So, yeah, I think Dante's been a good signing. And it's not just, I know everybody talks about the Villanova Knicks and they got Hart and Brunson and Dante, but these are guys, the 3 of them, that are winning kind of players, right? They're winning kind of players. They play tough. I think they embody what the fans in New York want to see. And, Dante's part of that. He's got a good vibe to him. I think he's good for the team. And look, and people like playing with guys they like playing with, that they know are going to play hard. If you play hard, you want to, just like we all at work, you don't want to work with people that you don't think are bringing it, that are not doing their jobs. Exactly. You're frustrated. We've all known these people at work. You've been to work and like, man, this person ain't doing what they're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. That's frustrating. It's the same thing. It's the same thing in hoops, man. So, in anything that you do. So I think he's a guy that brings it, and he fits in the culture very seamlessly. I think it was a good signing by the Knicks. A very good value signing. I
feel you. Still need a tall guy. That's why I graded a C.
Wait, JS, were you on the were you one of the people that was on the you were mad Obi left? Were you one of those folks?
Was I mad Obi left?
Yeah, you mad
I was. I knew the writing was on the wall for sure.
Yeah,
I was upset. Obi left. I was more upset at I think I was more upset at the return.
Same.
Then because there was a push pull with Randall and Obi from the beginning. So
you mean from the fans? You talking about from the fans?
No, I mean as far as minutes, like all right, we have this top 10 pick. We have Julius Randle, who's on his way out. He ends up staying. He becomes an all NBA player. And you're like, all right, cool. I understand how you not going to play Obi, but at the same time, I still felt like the coach didn't exactly use him the way that he was supposed to. And there was also a time where, the thumbs down year when Randall was just doing whatever he wanted to. I feel like there was ever a time to play him. The time to play him was that year, because I felt like Randall wasn't being held accountable that year. I felt like he was just able not to play defense, trap back or whatever, and Obi, and that was the time to play him. But then, Randall had an all NBA season. So it was like, all right, of course you're going to play 10 minutes a game that year. But I just felt like when it came time when it came time to trade him, we ended up trading him to the Pacers, and we got 2 second-round picks for him. Which was like, it's kind of like, damn, a lottery pick, we getting 2 second-round picks. It's like, all right, cool. Maybe that's not his value at this point. But the kick in the face was, not only did we get 2 second-round picks, we got the lower end of the second-round picks available. So we got the picks in the 50s.
Right. And here's the thing, though. And I might have said this on, I forgot, I was on somebody else's show. I might have said this. And I understand the Knicks fans who wanted to see more from him as a lottery pick. The problem was when they were talking to other teams, and I heard this too. They're like, hey, we're trying to move Toppin. They're like, hey, we want a low first round pick. Teams is like, yeah, but what's his value? Y'all don't even play him. Like,
Right.
How do we know? And I think that's what hurt him. So I think there's this way that I know Knicks fans wanted more, but the market was what it was. And I don't think anybody was going to give a first for a guy that the team wasn't playing. So it's hard to be mad at the team for not playing him when for all the reasons you mentioned, Jay Ellis, right? They had Randall was playing like a 2 All-NBA, second team All-NBA in 3 years. He did that, and the guy's not given playing time. So people are like, I don't really know what Obi Toppin is. And I think it was a fair question. Now, based on what Obi's been doing this season, I mean, are the Knicks really missing him?
I mean, for his role,
I say in them 9-10 minutes, yeah.
For his role, right?
He had such a small role, so like that. I always felt we never gave him a shot to try to see his strength with our offense. Like I felt we put like he was a Mari Stoudemire type of player with the pick and roll, maybe kind of. We tried to make him Steve Novak.
Yeah, we trying to make him Sean Marion.
He was just standing in the corner hitting threes, right? And yeah, I think your assessment of what kind of player he is accurate, Ebony. I just think that he just wasn't going to get the minutes here. Yeah. And I know it hurts Knicks fans to hear this, but like the return was not great, but it's probably the best they could have done. I'm not sure they could have got better than that based on what I heard on what the market is. So, and the problem was the lack of minutes. The lack of minutes is what affected the market and what they could have gotten for him. Now, here's the thing. And this is where I think the Knicks looked at it. I think they looked at it and said, man, we got Hart. We could play him at the 4. We get a guy like DiVincenzo. Obi, even though he was 6'10", he wasn't really killing it on the boards like that. No, he wasn't really doing it.
Yeah, I said that on your show.
Rebounder to him.
I said that actually on the show.
Yeah, you said it to me. Yeah,
I said it to you,
right? Yeah, Hart's a better rebounder than him. So they kind of looked at it. Now we can go back to the other point that we all agree on, which is the size has hurt them against certain teams. And this is why we talked about all the possibilities. And we even get to the point of talking about Jacob Toppin. Yeah, it's bad against certain teams, but I understand why they looked at it and said, we re-sign Hart, we'll put the money to a shooter in DiVincenzo because he can play in the Obi role and do what Obi did. He's probably going to get as much rebounds as Obi. And I'm not even trying to throw shade at Obi because I actually liked Obi as a player. I think he was fun to watch in the open court. I think he can be very successful with Halliburton in that situation because I think Halliburton's that good. But I don't think it's a move the Knicks fans should lament over or be worried about going.
I'm loving him from a distance.
There you go. It's fine. You love him from a distance.
And here's the thing, Dexter, because I got to debate on this on Twitter. I'm not saying he's worth a first round pick. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying he was a lottery pick. We didn't give him minutes, so his value drops. And then on top of that, I'm like, all right, cool. If we're going to get a second round pick, don't give me the bottom of the barrel second round picks. Like, at least give me a rotational. Like, you get rotational pieces at least, right? Semi-rotational pieces in what, like the 40s and the 40s, right? They give us like pick 55.
I'm gonna just say, only thing I'm gonna say to that is, like, I know, and you rarely find somebody at pick 55. Although
Jericho Sims, I know got Jericho Sims.
I know you got Jericho Sims. Where was Manu Ginobili drafted? Wasn't he like 57? Was Manu Ginobili like 50? I'm not saying they're gonna find Manu Ginobili. I'm just saying you never know. And here's the thing: if they find their Manu Ginobili, J. Ellis, they gonna come for you with this clip.
Come for me because the probability of that happening is very low. It happens a lot, but if you statistically look at where people are drafted and their success rate, very few people work out drafted in the 50s. Very few.
But the other thing too is you never know what they can flip that second rounder into. So it's really always hard to project that stuff. And look, Obi is a 6'8". I know I misspoke and said he was 6'10". I saw somebody in the chat was ready to get me. Sorry, 6'8". Apologize. Is a 6'8" power forward who didn't rebound that well. But his value, like you said, Jay, like we talking about, his value was low because he didn't get the minutes. And I think a lot of teams looked at the Knicks and was like, man, we're not giving you no first rounder for this. Now, could they probably have got a higher second rounder? Yeah, but maybe nobody was even willing to give them two except for the Pacers. Yeah. That's the thing. We don't know a lot of the trade negotiations, so I don't know. Because
when at the trade deadline, I read there were several teams interested in Obi. So I'm like, if there's several teams interested in Obi, someone can give you a higher second round where the probability having a bench player is available. That was my whole point. You gonna win off on the whole Obi tangent.
I didn't think we was gonna go there, but yeah, man. Some people coming in with the stats said Obi's a -12 for Indiana this season. Yeah, he's had a couple nights where he's been really good.
It's defense. It's always going to be defense. It's defense.
That team doesn't play any defense at all.
So it doesn't help.
Yeah, they don't.
No, it doesn't help. So
they're just trying to outscore you.
Yeah,
just trying to outscore you. And so that's kind of what I mean when I say, and I really mean this to the Knicks Nation out there. Are the Knicks really missing Obi Toppin? Are they missing Cam Reddish for the folks out there? There was the Cam Hive. Lee and I have talked about this. The Cam Hive that was out there, right? Like, are they really missing those players?
No, we're +6. +6 bench.
The Knicks bench has been really good. I think they found players that work in their system for what they do, and I think that's fine. And I think they have a bunch of some solid two-way players. The Knicks, as I think everybody knows, they're a star away from really contending. This is what the team is. This is what they are. This is what it is. This is what the team is right now. And the Knicks have a lot of picks and a lot of assets and some good tradable players. It's not a bad place to be in, guys. It's not a bad place to be in. You could be worse. You could be worse. You want to be on the cusp, as Ryan said. I'm gonna keep coming back to Ryan's point. Before you got to start paying the luxury tax in those aprons, you want to be on the cusp with flexibility and assets. That's where you want to be. That's where the Knicks at. And while you're doing that, you want to build a winning culture. This team has a chance to make the playoffs for three times in the last 4 years. We'll see if they can get past the second round to Eastern Conference Finals. We'll see. For the longtime Knicks fans listening, watching, in the chat, y'all ain't seen competency in a long time. Enjoy the short run of competency.
Definitely enjoy
it. It ain't that bad. That's all I gotta say. That's it for me.
Definitely enjoy it.
I said that I'm more confident in us finding gems in the later round than I am with our lottery picks. So I'm cool. I'm cool with late round picks. I'm cool.
Give me a bunch of pick 25s, and I think we have an all-star team in 3.
we seem to make it work.
Listen, Ebony's not wrong on this, right? You got IQ at 25, who Lee values very well, right? Grimes at the same pick. He's a starter despite his struggles. You got Mitchell Robinson, who was first second pick of the second round,
early second round,
second round, and he's a starter. And we're talking about him as a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Okay, I know the Knicks didn't draft Jalen Brunson, but he's a second round pick. All right, I've said this on a lot of other shows. It's like you can find talent in a lot of different places. Lee talked about, I think Lee was saying this before we started talking about Tibbs doesn't get credit for the development. That I think he should. And I think that needs to be addressed. I don't think the Knicks have got enough credit for the development, even RJ with his struggles as a number 3. And the Knicks have hit on some good late and second round picks. And that should be applauded. Like, you can make a legitimate case, say there's no stars, and that's fine. I mean, I think Brunson's a star, but not one that they drafted. So, but they've hit better late. So I don't know, JLS. Maybe that pick number 55, they might strike on that. I'm just saying, I don't know.
I will relish in being wrong. Relish in it. I'm not one of these fans where it's like, oh, it's my take or the Knicks. No, if I'm wrong,
You'll take it.
I'll gladly take it. I thought Julius Randle was finished 2 seasons ago. I was like, trade Julius Randle at all costs. And he turned it around. And I have not said that since then. Now, I still have my gripes about him. But I'm like, well, maybe we can figure something out. And if the right piece comes along, my tune changed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can respect that. Just same way, Lee and I were talking before. I respect Lee. Lee had his criticisms of Tibbs, and he was fine to have the criticism of Tibbs. The first time I came to the show, we talked about it, right, Lee? And Lee is, he's seen different things and the way things have played out, and he's give credit where credit's done. We can all do that. We can be objective.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We can talk about things and be critical. It's okay to change your mind. You don't have to lean into a take or a stance the whole time. Like that's not even healthy. It's not even good.
There's enough of that on Twitter, bro. There's people 12 toes deep on some ass.
That's
moving goalposts. They Hall of Fame reaching. Hall of Fame reaching.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be wrong, and it's okay to just say, "Oh, okay, I had that take, and it was, this is what I felt at the time, and it's fine."
Exactly.
We can evolve as people, man. We can evolve our takes. We don't got to stand in there all the time.
Before Lee was here, I didn't want to. That same COVID year, I was like, Tibbs, I'm done with him. The year before Lee got here, I said, Tibbs, I'm done with him. And then he coached better.
Yeah. And then I came on and you were like, actually, this guy's insane.
I'm cool with Tibbs as long as he's not so stubborn, but that's the problem. He's stubborn. Like, that's what
I know he's stubborn. I definitely know he's
I think he's made some adjustments more than Knicks fans have given
him
he's
grown.
For.
He's grown.
Yeah. He's grown. And that was the whole point we're talking about, right? Like all of us can grow. Players can grow, coaches can grow, journalists can grow, content creators we can all grow. Fans can grow. Yeah, man, it can definitely happen. It can definitely happen. But I looked at the time and I was like, I gotta get it.
We all got work.
I didn't even recognize the time.
Yeah,
and the fans were still with us. So
exactly. Y'all still rocking heavy in the chat. So shout out to people, Gamer Channel, Corey Lee Alexander, the Organic Knicks Fan Show, Jamaica. Shout out to Jamaica Queens who sent a $10 super chat. And I hit the gunshots for you. Who says showing love to the channel. Appreciate that. Also shout out to Alexander who sent the $5 super chat earlier. I forgot what your comment said, but I appreciate you. And if you like the show, hit that like button, subscribe, share. We here after every game talking Knicks basketball, high level Knicks talk, jokes, all of that. We usually do ooh picks and bro picks, but it's so late. I think you're gonna have to say that for some.
Man, come on, bro, let's do them.
You do them? Yeah.
All right. I have a couple of quick bro picks.
Okay,
we gotta do it.
All right.
Just very quick though. It took place at the game tonight with the Knicks and the Pistons. We were criticizing Kate Cunningham and his defense, but that boy sure do know how to play offense because there were 2 plays in the fourth quarter where one play he had Mitch doing the stanky leg on one play, and on another play, he crossed up Dante so bad. Dante was like, "Oh, which way did he go?"
Yeah, I didn't see that.
One way he went the other way. That's like the bro picks I have for tonight.
Yeah, I did see the which way did he go one. He was turned around a little bit. He played hard though. That boy played hard. He hit some good threes though. That boy played hard. All right, 4 of 8 from the field, all threes. Shout out.
Yes, sir.
What you got, Lee?
My bro pick. Trigger warning to all the partisan conservative right-wing Republicans out there. Henry Kissinger died. Couldn't be happier about that. My main man was security advisor and Secretary of State under one of the worst presidents of all time, Richard Nixon, and from 1969 to 1973. He did what's called carpetbagging in Cambodia. He was in charge of a lot of proxy wars, meaning the United States was involved in terms of funding and training, but not actually troops on the ground. And one of those proxy wars was in Cambodia during the Civil War. And his carpetbagging, ones that declassified documents later said that he authorized every single bomb that was dropped that killed 150,000 civilians was called Operation Menu. Look that up. 3,875 Cambodians bombs were dropped on Cambodia during his tenure. He was a very evil man, and you can always tell the character of one's soul when they pass away. You look at who wishes them, good things and calls them good character, and he was shouted out by George W. Bush, Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, and Benjamin Netanyahu, and that's a list of all-time Mount Rushmore bums, war criminals, and thieves. So rest in pieces.
All right. Got a history lesson from Lee. As true to Lee, Lee will always go left.
I appreciate you going left, Lee.
A bum's a bum, right?
Yeah.
Lee will
They come in all shapes,
I had
sizes,
a
and
bro
political
pick.
parties.
I had a bruh pick, but I'm gonna go with the bruh pick because I saw it too. I'm gonna go with Kevin Knox's braids. I saw it too. I don't know what that was.
Damn.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, she right on that man's hairstyle. Goddamn.
Oh man.
That's it. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree because I was looking, trying to figure it out. I ain't going for. I was staring for a minute. You never look like what's going on. You're supposed to be paying attention to the game. I'm like, what's going on there?
Oh,
Damn, that man couldn't win there.
that was cold.
Damn.
That was cold.
Damn.
All right. I didn't think we was going there, but we went there. All right, cool. That is bro pick second segment.
Sorry, what's the Knicks always Nick? I still like you, Kev.
Yeah,
I'm glad he's still on. You know, he found the team. He's doing well.
I'm glad he's still on the team and producing and getting his shot.
Yeah, he just need to get a better braid.
Yes, just a little better hairstyle. You came to New York, you could have hit any of them salons up. You know, we got plenty of
Africans.
braid your hair quick, fast, in a hurry. You know that.
All right.
I
Sorry, Kev. Caught a weird strike. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Still love you, Kev.
That's our show. Yo, KOT, please support Dexter. He put us on his show. We was like one of the first content creators. No, we were the first content creators to actually be on this show. So KOT.
On the New York Got Game, KOT was the first.
Yeah, we were the first content creators on his show live in the studio. Yeah. Dexter shows us so much love.
He really does.
Coolest dude. Thanks. So I don't care what's everybody who was here supporting this channel. Whenever he drops something over there, go over there and run up the numbers, please. Please. He gives so much love.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
But
same Ebony. I like the energy and flavor you're bringing to the KOT family. I love everything you do. Oh, and shout out that Knick Tag Toe show. Had Jay Ellis on to talk about that.
Let's
the show.
Go.
Yes.
Love what y'all doing with that, man. Love what you're doing that. Shout out to Knicks Omni fan too. The wonderful ladies there doing a great job. Yeah, shout out to
those are my girls, yo.
Yeah,
good people. They're really good people.
Always show me love when I see them at Knicks games or anywhere. So yeah, definitely shout out to them too.
Yeah. So yeah, Dexter, just let them know where they can find you, where to follow you.
You can follow me on all social media platforms at DHenryTV. Catch me on the New York Post YouTube channel, SY YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button on that. I do a bunch of videos, but I host two shows. New York Sports Rapid Rundown that drops every Saturday, and New York Got Game, which is a basketball show talking about everything in New York. That drops every Monday at noon. We're going to be talking some Knicks basketball this week. Actually got a special guest. Can't tell. I got a former Knicks player coming on with me this week. So I'm excited about that. Yeah. We got a former Knick. I think people will like that. We're going to talk to him a little bit, and we're going to talk about the upcoming game against Milwaukee. No, I see you whispering. I'll tell y'all when we're done with the recording. Okay.
Yo, Ebony, let them know they can find you. Oh, actually, Ebony, you be on like 600 shows. I can't even keep up with all the shows you do, yo. You be working mad hard.
Yeah. I was on I was on Queen Steph's podcast yesterday. Ladies night. We had a ladies panel, so that was pretty dope. If y'all could go check that out, you know. Every pregame I do spaces on Twitter. You know, Mad Nick fan. You can find me every pregame, and then postgame. You know, I'm here every postgame with KOT family. So yeah. So
support that as well. Support the pregame stuff as well. All right. Lee, let me know if we find you, man.
At Twitter, arguing with the bums. Appreciate all the love that I got today from the non-bums. When I posted about my moms, it was kind of a surprise outpouring of love and support from people I didn't even know follow me, man. It was like great to see it. Everyone had Knicks in their bio too. I was like, damn, I love this fan base. I love this family. At underscore Lee Escobedo, LEEESCOBEDO. My mom's name is Cindy. Please lift her name up in prayer.
Absolutely. Shout out to Cindy. All right. Ryan G, let him know they can find you, sir.
You can find me on Twitter at RyanGKOT. You can also find me on Instagram at Sir G is chilling.
Sir G is chilling.
That's SIR. G is CHILLIN.
All right.
Yo, Ryan, I actually just thought of something real quick. I know you'll be back here around the holiday. You know what's coming up that you and I got to talk about. We got a little Liverpool versus Arsenal coming up right before Christmas. You know what I'm saying? So I know anybody's fan of the EPL soccer. I just got to let Ryan know here on the KOT show that Liverpool's going to take care of business and be back at the top of the table.
Shots fired.
We'll see right now. Right now, Arsenal's top of the table. We got the lead right now, so we'll see.
Oh, shots fired.
We'll see. Yeah. Hopefully I see Ryan. About one of us is not going to be happy when we see each other. It's probably going to be
that
like
is true. Yeah.
Although I'll be happy to see Ryan. Of course, I'll be happy to see Ryan.
Well, yes, I need some trash talk in that episode. All right, on camera trash talking. All right, cool. All right, yo, you already know. Follow us on Twitter at thekot show. Also follow us on Instagram as well at the Knick of Time Show, and Facebook on Knick of Time Show as well. Also, catch that latest. We did a Nick Tacto. Check out Nick Tacto. We posted that yesterday. We had Millie versus my man Gaming Channel. Shout out to the chat Gaming Channel. Yeah. We got more to come. If you want to be on the show, hit us up. Also, shout out to Phil Porto in the chat. Somebody else asked me to shout him out.
Sugar Man Porto, baby.
Yeah. Shout out to you. Your brother Hector. Shout out to Zen7 Rick. And yeah, that's it, man.
And shout out Sherwin. No surprise, he's a huge Richard Nixon fan. Not shocking at all.
All right.
And you already know IQ had that off game.
So he's it.
Here comes Sherwin, baby.
You don't have to play Where's Waldo today. Where's Sherwin? We don't have to play it today.
Didn't see Sherwin for the IQ comeback game versus Miami though. Be ducking that smoke. That is our show. Yeah, guys, and as always, you know the deal.
Shout out the World Wide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks YouTube streets. That is our show. We out there.
Peace.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.